Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tales at 2. My name is Miss Rachel. We have Miss Erin over here. As we're waiting for people to get in, we're just gonna get right to it. Well, for the most part. First of all, thank yous to everybody who has donated so far. Like I said, you are keeping us afloat. The donations are really, really important for keeping the animal hospital going, and for us to continue doing these videos for you. Our trails are still open. Our wildlife housing area is still open. Our nature center is still closed so far. We're hoping that changes soon, but safety first, so we're gonna wait and see. And if you do come, please wear your masks, because there are still people around. Social distance, all of that, be safe, okay? Yeah, so that's that. That's the disclaimer stuff out of the way. Oh, disclaimer stuff. What we're about to show you today is pretty much for entertainment purposes. It's not, don't take it as dead serious, you have to do this stuff. Get a professional, okay? Please don't sue us. We can't afford it right now. So, that being said, what we're gonna do today is we are gonna show you, we've been talking about survival all week. So, things that will help you survive in the woods. So, what we're gonna do right now and today is we are going to show you what to pack. Things that would help you if you do happen to find yourself in a survival situation later. So something, Miss Erin has a backpack that's going to be full of all sorts of handy things that you should probably carry with you whenever you go into the woods, whenever you go on a hike, or keep that close by somewhere so that you have access to it. After that, we're gonna get a couple of first aid situations. So we're gonna show you little bits of stuff like that. All right? So,
alright guys, so we've been talking survival all week. We've mentioned a lot of different things, how to make your own water filter, how to start a fire, how to build a shelter should you need it. But we didn't really talk about things that you should probably be carrying with you. So when people come to Cedar Run, they're not really thinking about getting lost in the woods, right? But there are things that you should probably have on you just in case something like that does happen. It's not something that's going to weigh you down too much. It's things that you could have in your bag that aren't going to be too much trouble for you to pack. So we wanted to show you a couple different things. So this is our what to pack bag. It hangs on the back of our closet with all the stuff in it all the time. And then we don't have to think about what goes in here. So there's a bunch of different things. And I like to start out with, of course, something to drink. Water, of course, is your optimal drink choice. But if you have something else, at least there's some kind of liquid in your bag. Whether it's a disposable bottle or a refillable one, you want something to drink in your bag. So you're going to be able to use that, of course, if you're thirsty, but if you did get lost, it's a nice water source to keep you going until you can find something a little bit safer to use, like Miss Rachel was making her filter the other day. Anyone that's joining us that didn't watch our other survival videos, feel free to go back and check those out too. All right, I also have in my backpack a couple of bandanas. So bandanas are multi-use. Bandanas we're going to use a little bit for our first aid talk in a little while. But they're also something you could gather rainwater with. They're also something you could use as a bandage if you were to cut yourself and didn't have any band-aid. They're good to keep the sun off of you and all those kinds of things. So multi-use bandana, and nowadays, good face mask, right? So we've got bandanas, they're multi-purpose. I've also got in here my raincoat. If you don't have a raincoat, you could also have a poncho or something like that in your bag, just in case you have a sudden rain. If you're lost, of course, you don't know what the weather's going to be, so having something to keep you dry is always good. We talked about the other day when we were building our shelters that you could also carry a trash bag with you, right? Trash bag would make a nice quick little poncho. It could also be a bit of a shelter for you too. All right. I also usually carry a hat. Right? Hat is going to keep you out of the sun should you come out on a cloudy day, but then all of a sudden it turns nice and sunny like today. What else do I got in here? Oh, I've got Miss Rachel's flint. So it's a light, easy thing to have in your backpack. Should you need to start a fire, you're not going to be worrying about finding matches or a lighter or rubbing two sticks together. You're going to have your flint that's going to make the spark for you. And someone was asking in our last video, where do you buy these? So you can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them at a sporting goods place. There's lots of different places you can find a flint.
I think I may have found one of those at like a hardware store too.
Walmart.
Yeah, they probably would have them at Walmart and hardware store too.
Yeah.
I also have in my bag a map. So if you're going a place that you've never been before, or even if it's a place you have been before and you're trying out a new trail, a map is always a good thing to have on you. It's going to have all the landmarks. So if you do end up getting lost, but you're still pretty close to where you want to be, you might be able to find your way back with your map. What else do I got here? Oh, very important things. First aid kit, hand sanitizer, right? So you might get just a scrape or a cut. You might need to sanitize it a little bit. But in my first aid kit, and it's only a tiny little box, I don't have a ton of stuff in here, but they are very important things. I've got some surgical tape. I've got some gloves. Right? You're not really going to need gloves if you're by yourself and you're doing first aid, but if you're with someone else, you might not want to be able to get germs or blood on yourself. Bodily fluids. I have some gauze. I also have a little packet of burn gel just in case you are starting that fire and you hurt yourself a little bit. Sting relief, and of course Band-Aids and little moist towelettes and normal stuff that would be in your first aid kit. But we also pack, you guys can check this out up close if you want to buy your own. It's from Cabela's, but you can find them in lots of different places. A tick key, right? So if you guys are hanging out in a place that has a good amount of ticks, you may find yourself with a tick attached or at least semi-attached. This little guy is in place of tweezers. So you're going to just kind of lift the little tick off yourself and hopefully be able to move right along. Alright, I got one more thing here. Oh, two more things. Alright, so two last things. I always pack a snack no matter how long I'm going to be gone. You might just need the energy, but if you did get lost, it's a little something extra to have with you. And our last one is our whistle. Does anyone have an idea of why you might want to bring a whistle with you? Is anybody watching today? You're all outside in the nice sunshine.
I don't blame you. I would be outside in the sunshine too.
So the whistle is a good thing. Kids always tell me if they're lost, they're going to shout at the top of their lungs, hoping somebody hears them, right? But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're going to make your voice very strained. You're going to make yourself thirsty. And probably nobody is going to hear you, right? So the good thing to have is a whistle. You don't want to just be blowing the whistle randomly, because if no one's out there looking and no one's nearby, you're wasting your energy on that too. But if you happen to see someone walking in the distance and they maybe don't see you, a whistle is a good way to get their attention. It's also nice and brightly colored. It's not going to camouflage. And hopefully maybe they'll see this if you're waving around also, right? It's got multi-use. So,
does that whistle have a compass on it?
This whistle does not have a compass on it, but some whistles do have compasses on them too. So if you guys are good at maps and good at compasses, a little extra.
You know how to use it. Don't try to use the compass if you don't know how to use it, guys.
Yeah,
That'll just get you
it'll just
lost.
get more lost.
All right. Do you have any questions so far?
No. I'm taking a sip of my water because it's pretty hot out today.
It is pretty warm today. So, when you're walking along the trail, we did want to touch on a couple of the first aid tips. So there's a couple really, really common injuries that happen when you're hiking in the woods or when you're hiking out in the field. Okay? In the pine barrens like this area, a lot of people get burned. A lot of people just get sunburned because they're not prepared. They don't wear the sunscreen. So something like the burn cream that we had before, that will help with that. Aloe will definitely help with that. Also, just keeping covered. So you see I have short sleeves on today. If I wore long sleeves and a hat and maybe a bandana around my neck, that would cover and keep me from getting sunburned. So a lot of this is prevention. Okay, so a lot of the first aid stuff is actually prevention. There we go. Miss Erin is covering her neck with her bandana.
Also a good way to stay cool if you wet your bandana tied around your neck.
Oh, it's fantastic. I've used that so many times. It's so great. Right? So, like I said, a lot of this is prevention, but we're going to run through, like I said, a couple more quick things. A lot of things that happen, or a lot of times people will get stung around here. There's a lot of bees in the ground. There's a lot of ground bees. There's a lot of wasps hanging around. There's a lot of carpenter bees. All sorts of bugs. There's velvet ants around too. All sorts of really, really cool insects, and I love them dearly. I really, really do. But when we happen upon their nest or something like that, sometimes they react, and that means we get stung. Okay? Now, cool water will help if you're out in the woods and that's all you have. Cool water will definitely help. Take that bandana, wet it down, put it on the site. Make sure if you can try and get the stinger out. If it has one still in it, try and get the stinger out. You can. They tell you not to pinch it. They tell you to scrape it off. So if you have like a credit card or something like that, or maybe that tick key, can pull out that stinger. Okay. But cool water will help with that. There are some very, very simple sting solutions that you can just tuck into your backpack. That'll help. Also mud. I mean, really, if you're out in the woods, nobody's going to care if you guys are dirty. Just put some cool wet mud on it, and that'll help cool it down too. Okay? Same with burns. What else? I'm trying to think. That was sunburn, that was stings. The other thing that happens a lot is people, when they're walking around, they don't quite look where they're going, and they might twist an ankle. It happens a lot. Maybe there's a root or a pine cone, and all of a sudden your ankle's rolled, and it's really, really hard to walk. Now, that can be really dangerous if you are trying to walk yourself out. So I think what we're going to do is show you how to do a very quick split. Okay? Now, probably wouldn't do it for a rolled ankle, but maybe for a broken leg or something like that. This would be really, really helpful. Okay? So, the first thing you want for a broken leg or something like that is, if you can, stay there and have your partner find a couple of very straight sticks. Okay? You don't. Oh, there we go. Miss Erin's gonna be the injured. I'll get my mask on too. Okay?
Hard to social distance for first aid.
It really is. It really, really is. So, if she did have a twisted knee or a twisted ankle, we would probably just take the bandana and wrap it up around her ankle. Okay? Support her ankle, wrap it a couple times, and then tie it off. And hopefully that will keep her ankle steady enough. You want to do it over the shoe. You don't want to take the shoe off because that shoe has support. Well, most shoes do.
Not so much this shoe.
Not so much the shoe. But those shoes are going to add support to it. Okay? So you want to do that over the shoe. If she does have a broken leg, that's going to be a bigger issue. Okay? So for that, what we would need to do is to keep the leg totally immobile. So we shouldn't move it at all. Okay? Even if it looks really, really weird, if it's, broken in some horrible fashion, try and splint it in place. So what you do is you find two sticks that are sturdy and longer than the brain. Okay? So you're going to have one on either side, just like so. And then we would have to tie them in place. Now, if you're doing this on your own, it might be a little difficult. Yeah. If you have a partner helping you out, that'll help. Fun fact, the bandana is longer if you hold it on the corners.
So if you didn't have a bandana, you didn't pack one in your bag, you might still have the raincoat. You could use your raincoat to tie things. Maybe you have an extra sweatshirt or something else in there.
I have a belt today.
Yep,
that
belt
would work.
would be good. You could even use the laces from your shoes or something like that. So it's not, if you don't happen to have something exactly like in our bags, there's probably something on you that you're able to use instead.
Right.
There's always adaptation, right?
Yeah.
You could even, a more pliable stick, a vine, something that you find along on the trail, that could help you out too if you have nothing on your body that you can use to tie things together.
One of the other things that a lot of people bring too is some sort of paracord bracelet or something like that, or a paracord belt. Those things are fantastic because you can actually take those apart and use the string. So that is an excellent thing to also bring along if you're doing trail walk stuff. Usually very simple. Some people make keychains out of them. Okay? Did we bring out a walking stick? We did not. Oh, all right. Miss Erin's just gonna have to hobble. All right. So Miss Erin would then have to hobble her way out. Hopefully, if you do break a leg or something like that, you're somewhere close enough that you can still call for help somewhere. Okay? That way, the person with the injured leg does not have to try and walk on it. All right? Same with twisted ankle, any of that. The idea of first aid is to just make things stable and then find help.
So in the case of you guys were here at Cedar Run and you're not lost, you just happen to fall on the trail, that you wouldn't necessarily want to do this. You could come back to the nature center, come back to a place where there are people and get help. This is more more so if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you have nobody that you can get to assist you, but you got to get back to where you want to be.
All right, so I got burned, I got stung, you got a broken leg. What else?
Do arm.
Arm for the triangle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like sticks. Yay!
So one of the other things you can do if you happen to fall and hurt your arm somehow, okay, so you can splint the arm, okay, but then you have to keep it immobile. So once again, we're keeping it from moving around and keeping it from doing more damage, okay. So we would splint her arm, okay, and then we're just going to do a quick splint here. Doesn't have to be perfect.
The same thing though, whatever it looks like, you're going to leave it like that.
Yep.
So if it's a really nasty one and you got a bone sticking out, ooh, don't even think about it, but leave it alone.
Yep.
The more you mess with it, the more you're going to hurt yourself.
So then, this is going to be the hard part because this is not quite large enough. Yeah, it's not big enough.
Could use your belt.
Might have to.
You want my belt? It's probably longer.
Our assistant.
Yeah. I do have a belt on me. Do you mind?
Right? The leather belt.
Alright, that'll probably work better.
Yeah.
I can keep my belt on for the camera, yay!
I'm like, you don't take your pants off.
Okay. So what you would have to do with this is wrap it around her neck. Wrap it around the person's neck. The nice cool thing about a belt is that it's got hoops. It's got those hoops. So what that does is it gives support. It keeps her from moving it down. It'll keep it nice and tight. And then if you had extra cloth, if you had extra stuff, you could also wrap it around there to really keep it in. Okay? If it was really decorative or something like that. Okay? So, improvising. These are what we have, guys.
Alright. Anything else? I think that's it. Is there any questions from anybody?
Any fun
Come on away
comments?
from each other, take our masks off so we talk.
No questions today.
Alright. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We had a lot of fun doing Survival Week, and we hope that you guys did too. If you're just tuning in today and you missed any of the other videos, you can go back and watch them on our Facebook page, but also on YouTube. They're loaded up there too. Hopefully you guys learned a little something. Hopefully you had fun if you tried out the shelters or any of that other stuff. But like we said, we're not experts, so this is more for fun.
Hopefully this sparked your interest too, and you will go and maybe learn some other things. Maybe learn a first aid class. There are some really high-level wilderness first aid classes that you go into the woods for a while and you learn all of it, which is a lot of fun, but it's really intense. It's fun stuff.
So thank you guys. We'll see you next week, and have a great and happy, healthy weekend.